one of the things we promised that we would do in this class is keep the Heart Sutra keep it going.
Sutra and Bodhisattva Avalokita Swama was practicing the Prajna Paramita in the middle of Skanda so that they went deep and she crossed beyond all suffering and difficulty. Sariputra from does not differ from emptiness. Emptiness does not differ from form. Form itself is emptiness. Emptiness itself is form. And so to information. Sariputra so dhammas and pure characteristic. They are not produced, not destroyed, not different, not pure. And they prevent decrease, not diminish. Therefore,
Buddhist monk, getting 50 years now. Oh my goodness. It'll be 50 years, and actually last year I became a novice monk in 1974, fully ordained in 1976. So, I live in California half of the year, and right up the hill here the other half of the year. I'm originally from, as you can tell by my accent, Columbus, Ohio. Anybody pick out Columbus, Ohio? Nobody. So I was in Taipei, Taiwan last month, and went to a Catholic university in Taiwan called Furendashi. And they brought out their, we were the guests, and they were hosting us. And there was a lot of older priests in the front row. And one of our monks is from Białystok, Poland. And they had a Polish Catholic monk who came up and just priest, and he was like, speaking Polish and having a great time. And then somebody came up and said, you know, there's a Catholic priest here from Toledo, Ohio. Toledo, Ohio. I said, who's that? And this guy looked at me and says, wait a minute, your accent sounds familiar. Where are you from? I said, I'm from Toledo, Ohio. No kidding, I'm from Toledo, Ohio. Oh yeah? What high school did you go to? I went to Perrysburg. Oh, I went to DeVille. My dad went to that high school. That's great. So, in Taipei, Taiwan. This old Catholic priest had been there for 40 years. So we had fun. Anyway, so we'll start, we're gonna go around. We'll start with Sam, and then go in the back row, around, and catch the back row, and then we'll come and we'll finish up over here in the front row. You'll go last. So, okay, Sam. Okay, excellent. Hi. You're from Melbourne. What's your name? Victoria. Okay. The questions we want people to supply, the answers we want to supply are name, where you're from originally, and where you're living now. So you're living in Melbourne now. Where are you from? Melbourne. Okay, excellent. And your name again was? Victoria. Great, thank you. Okay, excellent. Glad you're here. This is Joe, also from Taipei. Yeah. Excellent. Okay. Is your other half playing cricket today? He's watching cricket. How did I know that? Okay. Coming around. We're doing the backside, so you're next. Yes, please. Okay. Okay. Nice. Okay, welcome. Yeah. Beauty Creek. Okay, in the back. Oh, she lives. We're in China. China, Nali. Beijing. Okay, excellent. Good. And okay, excellent. And we'll go to Elaine. Elaine, we'll get you and then this one.
Oh, okay. My name is Elaine. I'm originally from Malaysia. Now I'm living in Upper Kumara here.
Okay, excellent.
I am Eileen, originally from Malaysia, currently live in Majalaba.
Eileen, you're from KL?
From KL,
KL.
Malaysia.
Okay, great. Let's go.
My name's Ben. I'm originally from Western Australia, from Perth, and I'm living in Mudgery Bay.
Right. Excellent.
Hi, I'm Ian, and I'm originally from Malaysia, like most of you here, and I live in Brisbane.
In Brisbane?
Yeah.
Do you drive down?
Yeah.
Really? Oh, terrific. Okay. Welcome. Yes, sir.
My name is Andrew. I was born in Nambour on the Sunshine Coast. Grew up on the Gold Coast. Lived in the
All right. Andrew, great.
I'm Sharon from Hong Kong. I live in Bandung.
Okay.
Bandung.
You're from Hong Kong?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that.
David from Singapore.
Oh, Davidson. Okay. I got it. Okay. Where in Hong Kong? Hong Kong now.
South Taiwan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Yeah.
So I'm Marina. I come from China.
Where in China?
Chengdu.
Chengdu. Okay, out in the west. Yeah.
Stay here for 3 weeks.
For 2 weeks. Oh my God. Okay.
With my sister.
Okay. Your sister.
My cousin.
Your oh.
And my boss.
Oh, and your boss. All of the above. Wow. You're English for 2 weeks. Where did you learn English? 你英文在哪里学？
In China.
In China. Excellent. Okay, super. Good.
Hi, I'm Anna from Sydney. And I live in Australia.
Marcy Legs. Anna. Okay, good. Nice to meet you. Hi. Okay, Sarah. Nice to meet you. Good.
I'm Lee. I'm from China. I'm living in Logan. I've been here for 9 years.
Terrific. Okay, glad everybody's here. Wow. So let's jump right in. People come to a Saturday afternoon meditation class, not knowing what to expect. What are we going to meet? Are we going to learn something? What are we going to do there? What do they do there? What you have found is what's called the Mahayana tradition. That's the Sanskrit word. Maha means big. Yana is a vehicle, like a cart. So the big vehicle. That's describing the breadth of the teachings that have come down in this school. You call it a school. For 2,500 years. Over these years, a lot has accumulated. So when you get to this monastery here that teaches the Mahayana, sometimes we sit still like this. We just do meditation. More often than we sit still, we recite. This is a devotional tradition. So anybody who's been through Christianity knows about the praise tradition. You praise Jesus, you praise God. Buddhism has a very strong praise tradition where we praise Amitabha, we praise Guanyin Bodhisattva, we praise Ersto Bodhisattva. So that's something that we do. And that is, in order to sit still, obviously some of us felt the pressure in our knees as we were sitting there. That's just about long enough. When is he going to ring the bell? He hasn't rung it yet. It's been another minute. I can't stand it. I'm very familiar with those feelings. For those for whom that's not pleasant and they don't want to do that anymore, they praise. They do the devotional practice. As I was sitting, I was doing a combination. I was reciting in my mind while I was sitting still with my beads. So if you see people with their beads, often they will be doing a devotional practice where their mind is focused on a particular divinity, a particular being, maybe a bodhisattva, maybe a Buddha. And if that sounds like a lot, don't worry, we'll get there. That's two. So sitting, devotion. Other people recite mantras, which is mantras are a particular series of sounds that are there for the vibration of the mantras. They don't necessarily carry meaning, not like language that has meaning for every sound. The mantras are there for a vibration. So if you think about people who know Macbeth, right? In Macbeth, they have the three witches, the three sisters who are double, double, toil and trouble, cauldron burn and fire bubble, bibbidi bobbidi boo. Those sounds are there are positive ones and negative ones, ones that benefit and others that do harm. That's the mantra yana. Our founder and our teacher, Master Shen Hua, a Chinese monk who brought the Mahayana tradition from China to the US, to Canada, to Australia, taught mantras a lot. So the first thing that we do in the morning when we get to our sanctuary, the Buddha Hall, we recite a 15-minute mantra, a 90-second mantra, and then 10 smaller mantras. That's the first thing we do. Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhisvaha. That's a mantra, right? Jedi, jedi, boro, samjedi, kuti. So it does have a meaning, but it's mostly there for the vibration, for the energy that it carries. And some people say, well, what's the point of that? If you think about it, anybody, I don't know if I refer to the Bible and at the Bible as a text, how many people have been through a Catholic training? Then one. Okay, how many people have been through Protestant Christianity? Myself. Okay, so a few. Pauline. Yeah. So we who have touched the Bible at some point in our lives know that there's the Old Testament and New Testament. The Old Testament begins with, in the beginning was the Word, right? Vibration. Words have power. They issue from a voice, but the sounds they make can create and they can also destroy. Interesting. So mantrayana is that. That's number 3. So sitting, devotion, and mantra. What else? There is a school of Buddha in the Mahayana that pays attention to the organization of the community, how to the rules for when people come together. In the Buddha, our historical Buddha, in his own lifetime, he was reported to have 1,250 disciples who walked along behind him. When they stopped for dinner, they didn't eat dinner. When they stopped for lunch, they had to have lunch for 1,250. When they made camp at night, they had to have sleeping spaces for 1,250 monks. Can you imagine? So the rules for organizing the community, how to be a monk, how to train monks and nuns, how to protect nuns, how to protect monks. All of the, from the robes that we wear to the way we live, alms, monks and nuns live on others' generosity. I don't hold a job, although I don't have a weekend off either. I don't have a vacation. Monks are always on call in service to a community. So in exchange for that lifestyle and what we offer, people make food offerings to us. So today, luckily, there were those in the community who cooked so that I could eat. And I went over and found this delicious hot food on the counter. I just took what I needed and enjoyed it. I didn't work for my own food. So with that kind of interesting lifestyle, monks and nuns who are totally dependent on others' generosity There has to be standards, or it could easily fall apart. Some monks could get rich and fat, and other monks could starve. Some lay people could become, the queen of the kitchen, and others could be jealous and upset. So to prevent all that, we have what's called the Vinaya tradition within the Mahayana. People who study the rules, who pass on the structure of the community, how to continue. And 2,500 years after the Buddha started it, it's still going strong. My lifestyle is very much like those of the monks who lived in the Buddha's time, 2,500 years ago, without very much difference, from the robes to the schedules to the aspirations to the, for example, here's one. The Buddha's order was made up of people who were from all over India at the time. Wealthy Brahmins. India was divided into 4 castes really strongly, right? So there's the Brahmins, and there's the kings and warriors caste, there's the merchants caste, and then there's the outcasts, the lower caste. So in society, they didn't mix. Maybe you could go, the warriors could go visit the merchants, but it didn't go up. There was no, the hierarchies are really strict. In the Buddhist Sangha, absolutely no division whatsoever. Who came first? This who sat first, who had been there longest. So you'd have an untouchable sitting next to a Brahmin in robes. So the Buddha completely did away with caste because of this 4th study, the Vinaya order. Interesting. He revolutionized Indian society that way, and radical equality. So anyway, that's number 4. Number 5. Number 5 is one that our teacher, our founder, really paid a lot of attention to, and that's what the Buddha said. Words the Buddha spoke over the 49 years that our historical Buddha taught. It's called the teaching school or the academic school. And our teacher really valued that, so much so that every single night that he was alive and healthy in America or wherever he was, he spent 90 minutes opening up the Buddhist texts and explaining them. For those of you who are scholars, he was an exegete. He did exegesis, 讲经说法. Exegesis means you commentate. So he would open up the Buddhist texts and explain them line by line. One particular text called the Avatamsaka Sutra took him 9 years to finish. And he did it every night without fail, twice on Saturday, twice on Sunday. So big text to begin with, but he went slowly through it. And we're continuing that here. Tomorrow at 1:30, we're going to open up the Avatamsaka Sutra and take another chunk, moving on through it. So 5 schools. There's a Mahayana. That's what you found when you came here today. Like, that's what they're doing there. Interestingly, your Jin Shen is sitting in the back there, so you can't really see her. But this is a Buddhist nun, a Buddhist woman who, along with her sisters in religion, are living out a very full religious life of service, of effort, of cultivation, of practice, of study. It's among the major religions of the world, Buddhism has the least glass ceiling. So the only thing that prevents a nun from becoming a Buddha or becoming the absolute power person in the community is her own effort. This monastery is a convent, actually. This is a nun's monastery. As a monk living close to a nun's monastery, I'm 7-minute walk over that way. But otherwise, I wouldn't be anywhere near one's monastery. We keep the genders separate. So there you go. Meditation, devotion, mantras, the rules-based community, study of the rules, and then teaching. That's the Mahayana. Of those, certainly in Australia, meditation is where it's at. Everybody wants mindfulness, how to find a balance in the world that seems to be going faster and faster and faster. How to tune in to what's going on inside so I can somehow find harmony with the world that's crazy outside. If you come from Buddhist Asia, in Vietnam, in Malaysia, if you go to these Mahayana places, meditation, not so much. You don't find it very much. What people do is they recite. They do devotion. So that's kind of interesting. When I'm back in California, I live in Berkeley, home of University of California at Berkeley, and our monastery is right downtown. It's a former church. Some of you have been there, Berkeley Buddhist Monastery. You know what that's like. And every night we have a different group. It also has two names. It's called the Institute for World Religions at the Berkeley Buddhist Monastery. So we open it up. We teach Saturdays, Sundays, and Wednesdays. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, different groups come. And so the Thursday night group, very interesting, is part of what's called Spirit Rock. Spirit Rock is a Vipassana community, mindfulness meditation. And they met every Thursday night for 27 years without fail. It's a wonderful group. It's almost all entirely Caucasians, and with a few African Americans and a few Hispanic friends and Asian friends. But it's by and large white folks, UC Berkeley, faculty, most of them Jewish, most of them psychotherapists. Amazing, like more than half. So psychotherapists want to look at the mind, and the Vipassana style of Buddhist meditation takes you right into what's going on inside and how to live with it. So that's Thursday night. Saturday and Sunday is our weekend, and the community is not entirely, 75 to 80% Asian, largely Vietnamese, with a sizable number of Taiwanese and Chinese and Malaysian, Singaporean, Hong Kong. So on Saturday nights, my lecture night, which is Sunday here, and I'll be explaining a sutra, and I'm saying, okay, well, we have the gods and we have the dragons and we have the eightfold pantheon of spiritual beings, the Garudas and the Kinaras and we have the Maharagas and we have the Ashuras, and the Buddha is talking about psychic power. So we have the ability, the Deva's eye and the Deva's ear and the ability to transform his body and and we're just going, yeah, we're familiar. That's the Mahayana. There's dragons here on the wall, and there's dragons in the book. Sometimes the teacher on Thursday night says, Dharma Master, I'm on a retreat. Would you take my Thursday night group? So oh, sure. So one night I had just come back from Taiwan, and it was my night to fill in on Thursday night. And here I was with the regular, 80 Jewish psychotherapists sitting in the hall. And I forgot where I was. And I said, yeah, well, I was just in Taiwan, and I was explaining about how to cross over the ghosts from the hells. We had a mantra that we recited, and everybody was holding a plaque and seeking for the gods and the dragons. And I could see people's eyes were just getting wider and wider. And said, hey, we came to learn Buddhism. What is the shamanism you're teaching? What is this nonsense? And I said, yeah, well, it's really important that we look carefully at what we eat, because, great compassion says you can't really be compassionate about something that you're chewing up and devouring. You want to, the same body, great compassion. excuse me, what does Buddhism have? Can you keep your teachings out of my kitchen? I came to learn Buddhism and how to meditate, you know. Oh, I forgot. You know, here I am at this. So on Saturday night, if I'm sitting with the regular Mahayana group and I'm saying, now, when these thoughts arise, we have to understand we are choiceless observers watching thoughts rise and fall without attaching. We don't want to get the self too deeply involved. They go, where have you been, Dharma Master? We were hoping to hear about the sutras and the Buddha and the greatfold, you know, the great compassion. And so it's very interesting how Buddhism is a wide, wide, wide community. And it's that we have these 5 different schools it came that way because of history, just because over the years, all these different situations arose, the Buddha taught to every situation. The Buddha saw people, for example, sick. So he taught them a healing mantra to bring vibrations back, to set their bodies and minds back in a harmonious balance. Then at one point, the Buddha said, you know, I have a story to share with you about this Buddha Amitabha who made a Pure Land where there's no suffering. If you recite his name, you can go there at death and there's no suffering. So he said, here's what you do. Namo Amitofo. He taught recitation and devotion. And then other times he saw his monks who were just really, really ready to go deep inside. He said, all right, sit still, count your breath, watch the breath. So these 5 schools arose from potentials, from needs, because people were actually ready. Kind of like if you're hungry and you go into the restaurant, you pick the food that's going to hit the spot. You know, it's going to heal your hunger. And so that's over time, we wound up with these 5 completely different schools of practice. Here at Gold Coast Dharma Realm, depending on what night or what week you come, you'll find all 5. This is the second meeting of our meditation class. And our goal is to use the Heart Sutra to give you the teaching school's meditation tool. What this talks about, if you're familiar with it, if you've been here before, Prajnaparamita came about because the Buddhist monks were meditating and experiencing their earth, air, fire, and water in their bodies, the solid parts, the liquid parts, the heat, and the spaces in their body transforming. If you sit and really are able to calm your 6 senses, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind, energy tends to not leave. You're sitting like this, your 6 senses are not shooting out. They're still here. Over time, as your skill, we use the word gongfu, like kung fu. As your gongfu grows, you're able to take that energy and refine it. And over time, what you discover is that what seems so solid in your heart, your lungs, your kidney, your liver, your spleen, gallbladder, all the different organs, are in fact at another level buzzing structures of atoms, hydrocarbons largely. And as you get quieter and quieter in your sitting, what you discover is what seems so solid, in fact, is they say, 四大假合, they say, the 4 elements temporarily combined. And so long story short, the monks discovered emptiness. They were sitting, monks and nuns, they were sitting and they found that as their samadhi, this word, their concentration, their focus grew, they were able to get to the heart of things. And what was the heart of things like? It was not produced, not destroyed, not defiled, not pure. It didn't increase or decrease, but it came together and it came apart. And as they sat still, they could experience that. They could go deeply into it. So the Buddha said, all right, here we go. Good. Now you're ready for the heart of Prajnaparamita Sutra. He said, let me tell you how to go into the space where those thoughts arise. He said, think of the mind like a garden. We call it the shindi, the mind ground. And the thoughts are what you pay attention to. Watch your thoughts because they are the ones, the thoughts carry the mail. The thoughts carry the things that create the world around you. And in fact, the world that you meet is a creation of your thoughts. What's it like? How you doing? Is your mind, is your world a mess? Is it nothing but a lot of affliction, nothing but trouble? Well, he said, there's a way to work with that. You have to take charge of your thoughts. And if you do it skillfully, that negative experience, that, constantly banging your head against the walls of the world, there's a way to transform that into something that is less selfish and confining. And here's how. Do this and this and this. So he said, suppose your life is really, really pleasant. Suppose everywhere you go, things just seem to work out for you. And these doors open and open and open. If so, and you appreciate that liberation that comes from your mind, here's the way to use that very same mind and share that goodness with other beings. So it's called the Bodhisattva path, the awakened being. Here's how they live. So the Buddha responded to the different potentials of people that he met and taught them according to where they were. But this teaching on emptiness, the Heart Sutra, represents the Buddha. They say the Buddha taught this for 21 years, but only after his community of monks and nuns were ready, after their meditation had already started to realign their physical bodies through their meditation, through their stillness. Now, if that sounds like a lot, yeah, there are folks here who are meditators for years now. I appreciate there are folks who are coming for maybe their second class or maybe their very first class. But what I want to convey is the idea that there's a lot here. This is real world Buddhism, and you're at a place where these traditions are going strong. They're mature traditions, and you could say we know where we came from, and we want folks to be able to ask us for Dharma. There's so much here. Our teacher, Master Hua, got to America in '62. He entered Nirvana in '95, and in between those 30-some years, he just packed our pockets and backpacks full of Dharma to share. So there's a lot going on. Glad you made it. What we will be doing, Ben, could we pass out our picture? I'll take one. Thanks. We have a meditation handbook that we're sharing. Can you send the rest around? This is a specific book on seated meditation, among other kinds. And I'm confident that if you investigate these basic teachings, you can authentically say you can authentically learn to meditate and share it with others as well. So we opened it last week. We got to meditation posture, page 10 and 11. We're going to turn, oops, we're going to turn to page 12. Okay, here is the Buddha. This is one of the only two Buddha images in the book. The others, we kept it deliberately non-sectarian. So, page 12. Notice the geometrical, notice the triangle here. From above, it's a circle, and you could also draw a square looking down from above, and it's also a square. Very geometrical. If you don't mind looking at the Buddha over on the altar, right, there's an example of the geometrical stability, right? It's pointed at the top and wide at the base. It doesn't wiggle. So what could be more stable than a triangle? So back and head, allow the spine to assume its full upright natural reach, as if it were aligned from a thread attached to the top of your head up above somewhere. With the back straight and upright, free from tension or muscular effort, gently align the shoulders. I made my way to Kyoto, to a Zen temple called Antaiji in Kyoto. And the teacher there was Uchiyama Kosho Roshi. And Uchiyama Roshi would sit on his zafu and his cushion, and he would start to swing, and he would go like this, and he had a smile on his face. Remember the smile? He was like, "大好きです。とってもいいですね。Zazen wa. I really like Zazen. Meditation is great." And he would go back and forth and back, and then slower and smaller and smaller, and he would finish plumb in the middle. And he was demonstrating for all of us who were sitting around the circle, but he was back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, like that. And when he finished, he was directly in the center, just like our sample here. So free of tension or muscular effort, gently align the shoulders, hips and ears along the same plane. Relax the muscles of the face, especially jaw and eyebrows. Keep the jaw slightly apart. So here's the idea. If I'm leaning forward, my shoulders come down about here. If I'm leaning back, the points of my shoulders come down back here. If I'm sitting right in the middle, the shoulders and the hips are exactly in a plane, right? So just straight, good, right? Because why? There's the spine is the center. And this would be the center of gravity in the triangle of that posture. Okay, it says hips. Say relax the muscles of the face, especially the jaw and the eyebrow. One of the things that we do once we get lined up is we do what's called scanning the body, looking for tension. Where in my body? I start at the top, and you can kind of patrol around, and you'd be surprised where you're carrying tension, especially people who drive cars. We think nothing of it, jumping behind the wheel, but those automatic driving muscles tense us in certain places, like back, we're scanning. So over the eyebrows and the base of the jaw, we're like, So we scan around, where am I holding tight? And wherever I'm holding tight, I exhale. Just let that go. There's no value to holding tension anywhere in the body. It doesn't protect us, particularly not when meditating. We don't have to defend against kind of impact or surprises coming from the roundabout, right? So that's the message of page 12 and 13. Keep the jaw slightly apart, unclenched. That's another place where there's tension, is in the teeth. Sometimes when we're sitting, we can be bushwhacked by something that rises from within that does not want us to be sitting here so vulnerable, or something could sneak up on us, right? What's it all about? Sitting this way, especially when we relax, allows tension that is holding in trauma or fear inside. When we relax it, oh, those fears arise. Not always, not everybody carries that kind of tension, but understand that it can happen, that as soon as you relax, it's like, ooh, I don't dare. So what happens? What do? Tension, clench, protect, defend, right? Very helpful. Go, hey, I don't have to do that. Nobody's going to attack me while I'm sitting here. Right? So you don't do these things once. You check, scan to see if my jaw is holding tension. What about my eyebrows? What about the base, these muscles here? So, okay. Let's turn over. Let's see. Let's take a break. Take a break. I want to share with you not the song sheet. I thought this was, I want to emphasize how fortunate we are to have Ikshuni Jinshan. She's going to say, don't look at me. Jinshan is here. Why? Because she represents this long tradition of Buddhist women. And the Vikshuni order began in the Buddha's lifetime and carries forward to this day. And being female and being a fully ordained Buddhist nun, she has a set of experiences that are unique to being alive in a female body and meeting these practices. And further, she's bilingual or trilingual. She can, you speak 3 languages? 4, 3.
Dialects are not languages.
Bahasa. Okay, so she can communicate her experience, and she's a vegetarian, she doesn't bite, so she's able to share, what it's like to be a citizen of the world in the 21st century, and also be living in a form that Buddhist women have lived in for 2,000 plus years. So pretty special to have someone here. And also, if you can track her down, Jin Tang is here as well. A nun who, when I first met her, she was a computer programmer at Gold Sage Monastery in Silicon Valley. She's a Silicon Valley nun from San Jose, California. So she's also, and has a lot of experience. So to have these, and then there are 2 other nuns who are also here at the same time, but to have 2 English-speaking nuns with deep experience in the world and now world transcending is pretty special. Okay, what I thought I would share is a song called Yashodhara. It talks about the decision to commit to asking the question, where did I come from? Where am I going? Before this body and after this body. And while I'm in this body, what am I supposed to do? But in this song, it's a song about the Buddha's experience when he progressively went out the gates of the city and saw an old person, a sick person, a corpse who died, and then he saw a practitioner, someone who had committed to the way. He had, the Prince Siddhartha, had been raised by his father to believe that everything was copacetic and fine, everything was good, and life was always that way, because dad did not want his son to become a monk. He had been predicted by a fortune teller, by an astrologer, that he would become a monk. And dad wanted to prevent that. So he kept him in a pleasure dome, trying to keep him away from impermanence in the way of the world. But at a certain age, he saw them in succession: old age, sickness, death, and then the possibility of transcendence, transcending birth and death. So the song is called Yashodhara. Yashodhara is the Buddha's wife. She was a princess. She was, by all accounts, lovely and strong and wise. And so the song begins as the prince, who has just now discovered that he's going to die too, like everybody, is saying goodbye to her. He's about to leave the palace and go off and seek to find out whether birth and death can end. So this is called Yashodhara. Prince Siddhartha had a wife. He loved her like he loved life. She was fine, she was fair. When he said goodbye, he said to her, Yashodhara, look at where life leads. Yashodhara, I'm gonna try to get free. I took a little trip into town. I learned that death will cut us down. I woke up by the city wall. Freedom to die is no freedom at all. Yashodhara, look at where life leads. Yashodhara, I'm gonna try to get free. Like you, I never heard an old man sigh. I never knew that people die. I never heard a sick man moan. I learned this body ain't my home. Yashodhara, look at where life leads. Yashodhara, love won't set us free. Then I saw another man who walked in robes with bowl in hand. His face looked neither left nor right. His brow was clear, his eyes were bright. I asked him what he did all day. He said, I cultivate the way. I watch my mind, I watch my breath, and in the end it's life and death. Yashodhara, couldn't love you more. Yashodhara, that's why I'm walking out this door. Now some will say I'm a fool. Some will say I'm too cruel. This is the best thing I can do. When I get free, I'll come back for you. Yashodhara, look at where life leads. Yashodhara, I'm gonna try to get free. So somebody who took that challenge seriously to the point where he let go of everything that was safe, everything that was comfortable, everything that was secure, and said, "I'm going for it. This is my chance." Because why? He was somebody with extraordinary sensitivity, and when he saw the old man and the sick man and the corpse, he knew every breath counts. Right? This guy here is already 75 years old, and I'm just as old as he is. And so, how many breaths more, Ben?
Not too many.
Not too many. We're counting them. I know that's the reality of it. So, if I didn't shave my head, it would be very white, just like some of you. You're doing pretty good, actually.
Every day you're sucking air is good.
How about that? So in Taiwan, I was just complimenting all my old friends on their black hair, and they came up to me and said, "Got it." So yeah. Okay, so that's what we'll be doing this class, and I think let's do this. Let's do another 10 minutes of sitting, unless, is there any questions, first of all, of the things that, what did we talk about? We went through the Heart Sutra. We talked about 5 schools of the Mahayana to give you a kind of a sense of what the water that we swim in here. We talked about posture, just a piece, the next step into posture here. If you don't have one of these and would like one to take home, please do. If you took one home last week, if you already have one, we'd be happy to hang on to them and pass them on to somebody else. But all of the instructions here are equally simple and essential, pithy, and it covers all the different aspects of sitting. Okay, and then we did a song which is talking about the kind of the founder of our faith. Questions? Andrew, Ian, anybody? Eileen? Eileen's been meditating. How many years have you been meditating? 20?
Now I don't.
But once upon a time, that's honest. How long have you been cultivating? How's that? Reciting the Buddha's name.
I came here since 2012.
2012. Yeah.
Yeah. Slowly learning things.
Long time
helping out.
practitioner. Yeah. Great. Okay. Nope. Okay. Sarah, any questions? Yes. Not yet. Okay. If you think of some, let me know. Okay. Or talk to Jean Tran too. She's fun to talk to. Okay. Should we do another 10 minutes of sitting? we conclude with it's called the dedication of merit, where we make a wish and send out all our goodness. It comes from being together with wholesome friends on a Saturday afternoon. You're in a peaceful place, in a pure country, wherever you would like to share all that goodness, please make a wish. May every living being, our minds as one, and radiant with light, share the fruits of peace with hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see our hands and hearts and find in giving unity, may our minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all who sorrow leave their grief and pain. May this boundless light dispel the darkness of our endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. Thank you, friends. See you next